Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of Let's Build a Town, where we look at some of the key NPCs for the town of Sheern.
So we've got kind of 5 basic prompts that we are going to guide you through with 3 different key NPCs.
Right.
The first thing is just some basic info on the NPC. So we're looking at the name, what the race or ancestry is, and their role in the town or their class.
The NPC that we'll spend the most amount of time looking at is Kaltuk Tuya. She is a silver dragonborn in her late 40s, and she is the town's blacksmith, or one of the blacksmiths, the most well-known in town. Mm-hmm. If it does come up later as a GM, I need to know she's a level 4 fighter and a level 4 rogue. But the actual classes, you might not actually need to know that.
Yeah, and as far as like statting out all of your NPCs, I don't think you need to do that. If it is a character that you're going to anticipate being pretty central to the storyline or is going to be involved in combat, you might want to make a full character sheet. Otherwise, you might just do the basic stats. So, if somebody rolls a persuasion check or, they try and lift something heavy, you at least know what's their strength, what's their charisma to make those rolls off of.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea to know the key stats and saves, but you don't necessarily have to go through and do a full character sheet. Also, something to consider for these key NPCs, if you need them to know how to be able to do something or cast a spell or have an ability, give it to them. You're telling a story. Now, if it comes up that you have a player that pulls you to the side afterwards, or maybe even interrupts gameplay to say, if they're going to be able to do that thing, actually, they'll have to be a blah, blah, blah. That's probably something to consider handling one-on-one with that player. But let's be honest, if you've got someone that's going to pull that, you probably know about it ahead of time. That's a style, that's a way of playing, it's not necessarily bad, but players don't interrupt the flow of the scene, in my opinion. The next thing to consider for your NPCs are their personality keywords, and I think that's really important. You don't have to write a novel about their personality. Give them 2 or 3 keywords, because that's going to help guide the decisions they make while letting them still stay flexible and able to grow as a character. The keywords for Tuya is that she's very work hard, play hard. She's a little wistful because of her background, and she's pretty competitive.
Next, I think it's great to flesh out a physical description for your NPC. And this doesn't need to be like head to toe every single thing that they're wearing, but I think it's good to get the basic physical description and then focus on a particular trait or like accessory or clothing item that they're wearing that is unique to that character. And this is going to make it a little bit easier for your players to kind of clue into who the character is if you are using that one trait or description to describe this player. They're always going to go like, hey, if this NPC wears a pair of thick-rimmed glasses, oh, you see somebody with a pair of thick-rimmed glasses, that must be Bob.
Another thing to consider is a suggestion from creative writing. If you're going to mention a physical attribute more than once, make it matter somewhere in the story. The physical description for Tuya is that she is, like I said, a silver dragonborn, and she's got some scars and patches of scales that are missing that she's had tattooed teal. She's got 2 sets of horns that sort of curl up and back, and horns that curl down to her chin, and the upper left horn is broken off. That's something I would mention maybe more than once, and it's going to come up in her story as the party is there. She's pretty big. She's 6'7" and about 300 pounds with lots of like ropey, thick muscles. She is the smith after all. And just by the way that she interacts and looks, you can tell she used to be an adventurer. When she's at the forge, she wears blacksmith stuff, leather apron, but if they see her around the town afterwards, she wears a gaudy, annoying amount of jewelry as well. You should know what the goals, at least the basic goals of these NPCs are. They can be pretty simple. They want to have a quiet life and feed their family, or you can go into a little bit more detail. The main goals for Tuya is that she's sort of escaping the bad memories and some of the things that she did or was a part of when she was an adventurer, and she wants to have a simple and quieter life now, but that's at odds with the fact that she does kind of miss her adventuring days.
And then the final thing is, what are their connections? Are they part of a faction or a group? Who are their family? Are they friends with anyone? Are they foes with anybody? This is going to help kind of flesh out and make the town feel like it's not just a bunch of individual people, as well as provide some opportunities for potential storylines.
The connections that Tuya has is, first of all, there is a small cult out there in the rest of the world somewhere that she made enemies with back when she was an adventurer. That may or may not come up, but it's fun to just sort of know. She knows the mayor. There is one of the hot springs that she is banned from going back to. And she has a share of one of the larger mines that's in town. She does have a brother that lives in the capital city of whatever this place is, and the rest of her family lives off on a different continent. We want to say a huge thank you to all of our patrons, and especially to Black Dragon Gaming. If you like what we do and you want to be a part of this community that makes it happen, check out patreon.com/roll4initiative.
We had some really great suggestions. Thank you so much to James, D&D, and Marco. Yeah. So we're going to take one of those suggestions and flesh it out in this video, along with an additional NPC. And those other ones may make an appearance in the kind of setting that we are building.
All right, so these last two we're going to go through a little bit quicker with these pop-ups for you to follow with, just like we did last video.
As I mentioned in the first video, this town has a alpaca ranching weaving guild, so I decided to stat out the head of that weaving guild, which is Riara Hillstride. She is a halfling. As I said, her role is the head of the alpaca ranchers, and she's lived in this town all of her life. Her personality is she's very soft-spoken, but determined, calm, but very, very protective of those she cares about, including the alpacas. She is middle-aged for a halfling, has alert brown eyes and a warm smile, and kind of her most defining feature is a lot of long, unruly hair that she tends to wear just kind of pulled up in a loose, messy bun and shoves in a whole bunch of various needles, wool combs, and small tools that she uses around the farms. Her goal is to maintain the alpaca farm, and she would like to be able to breed kind of the ultimate alpaca wool. And then her connections, obviously she's the head of the guild for the alpaca ranchers and weavers. She's best friends with one of the greenhouse workers. Her brother Corit travels with merchants selling accessories made from the alpacas, and she's also at odds with one of the spa owners.
And the third NPC that we have is Hans Goodblade. And again, this was a really cool suggestion from Marco, so that's really neat. We wanted to flesh that out. Hans is an elderly halfling, and he owns one of the spas that's connected to 4 of the smaller pools that are here in town. And as far as stats are concerned, he's just going to be statted out for a more charismatic than regular halfling. The keywords for his personality is that he is well-meaning, but he is an absolute gossip and very extravagant. Hans's physical description, he is 3'2", so a little taller than most halflings, and about 35 pounds. He, fashion-wise, always has the latest trends from about a year ago, because this place is like at least 6 months from the capital city, so it takes a while to get there. But other than that, he has a completely shaved head so that he can do whatever wigs or styling that he wants to be able to do. His goal is that he wants his spa in town to be the most exclusive and sought-after spa, but it's definitely not one of the public spas. And once he's accomplished that and has somebody that can run it, he wants to expand his franchise to a couple of bigger cities. And lastly, his connections. So, like I said, Hans is very much a gossip. So part of his gossip circle is sort of the hostess, not the owner, but the person that helps run the largest of the taverns that are in town, the lieutenant of the captain of the guard, and one of the co-owners for the large mine. And that takes care of all of the gossip in town that he needs. Oh, and also his spa is the spa that Tuya is not allowed back in.
So in the next video, we will be diving into actually building some adventures based off of these past 3 videos. The kind of town overview, the key locations, and then key NPCs.
And if you want to play along with us, like you have been, it's been awesome. We want to know the adventure hook type that you would like to see. We'll do more than one, don't worry about it. So what I'm saying is, do you want to see a kidnap job, a rescue, a fetch quest, solving a puzzle, that sort of thing? Give us the general type of adventure you're looking for.
We've been having a lot of fun building this town, especially with all of the great suggestions and input we've been having from all of you. So please keep those comments coming here on Twitter and Instagram as well.
So until next time, I'm Ryan.
I'm Dawn.
And this is Roll for Initiative.
Bye.
Bye. The microphone is at an angle.
Yeah.
Now it's bothering me. Okay. It's fine. It's fine.